Take 3. Trying to get through this without the dog crying. Hi everyone, welcome back to Sharon Cullen Art. It's nice to be here. I have one video that I'm already editing, and I just got a package in the mail, and I thought I will open it on camera. It just came today, and the dog's gonna cry. I apologize for that. The company, or what's his name? Eugene from the Arteza company, or Arteza, however you say it, asked me if I would review more products for them. So I said, sure, I'll review the products, but my reviews are honest reviews. So he asked me, or he told me what he would send, but some of the stuff that he wanted to send me I already had. But the last time I had reviewed the gouache and I liked it, he sent me the box of 24. Apparently there's a box of 60, and he just sent me all 60 colors. Here you go. Whoops, there goes my water. Hang on a second. Jeez, go get the box. So they sent me all 60 colors of their premium gouache. So today I'm going to do a painting with these colors. I will do a quick swatch of all the colors and then show them to you. And then I'm going to do a painting with these. They're also sending me another product that's coming up very soon, is their brush pens. They have a set of brush pens. I don't know if they're watercolor brush pens or what they are, but they're sending me their brush pens. Somebody wanted to know if I owned them and wanted to know about them, so they're sending me those to check out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and check out this gouache. It looks like it comes in a nice box that you can keep it stored in. I can't get my fingers around it though. I've been staining doors like crazy, so my hands are dry and and sticky. Okay, yeah, it is a nice box that you can just open the top. It's not real heavy, but it's nice enough to store your gouache in. And it looks like the tubes are, well, there's a lot of different whites and stuff. The tubes are 12 ml tubes. So they're kind of small for gouache, but that's okay. I'm not complaining about it, that's for sure. To get a set of 60, which is very, you know, if you're starting in gouache, I don't recommend that you get a huge set of colors because it gets overwhelming, and then you're using so many colors, you've lost the color harmony in your painting. I apologize for the noise. It's the only way to keep him happy. He's got to tear up boxes, so he's over there tearing one up right now. But anyway, the set that I had before was the set of 24. And so now I'm going to go ahead and check these out. Let's see what they look like. Okay, so I've got all the colors that were in the box, all 60 of them, down on paper. Now some of them are listed as transparent, and after drying they're not too bad. These two are, that I believe is ultramarine and Prussian blue. There are a couple others. Their yellows are a little on the weak side. This kind of greenish color is on the weak side. You can see the black lines through some of the colors, and I did my best to make them opaque. The other thing I'll say about these are that, you know, they do have some cool iridescent colors like this one. There's some pearls, that one, this one up here, this white one is a pearl. Then there's a silver and a gold, and those are kind of neat. And they're shiny, they dry shiny. But the rest of these look somewhat chalky to me, like student gouache would look. Now, they don't claim this to be, I don't believe they don't state, what did I just say, complain? Oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind. They don't state here that they are artist quality. What they call them are premium gouache. So I would still call them student quality. And would I buy these? Personally, no, I wouldn't, because I like my Holbein and my M-Gram and my Winsor and Newton, and those are the gouache colors that I use. I will use these though. I'll use them and play around with them. I'm going to do a painting now real quick, just something simple, and we're going to see how they look. I'm going to try to work with them. It's one thing to put them down on paper like this. It's another to actually take the colors and use them in a painting. It gets very overwhelming and cumbersome when you have this many colors. And they claim that, let's see, two. They claim 2 of the colors to be transparent. I thought more of them would be. There's several that are semi-transparent. And when I laid many of them, they did look very transparent, but then they kind of come around. This one's supposed to be semi-transparent, and I guess you'd say it is. With the chalkiness that it gets, it definitely helps to make it more opaque. I wonder if there's chalk in these. I don't know that they give their ingredients. Let me see here. Nothing on here. It says it conforms to ASTM standards. It's an American company. Arteza is. I'm going to just look on here and see if anything is given for ingredients. No. It does state on here that they have all of their products guaranteed. If your product does not perform properly, please contact us at returns@arteza.com for a replacement. Not a refund, but a replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and do a painting with these, and we'll see how it works. You know what I might do, actually, is do the same painting side by side with my professional gouache versus my Arteza gouache or Arteza gouache. Let me go ahead and do that. I think that that would be a good show to see exactly how they perform. Okay, so I was getting my gouache ready for the video or for the paintings, and I wanted to choose the same colors that I have in my palette over here. So I started going through them, and I got to the whites, and look at this. These are all transparent colors. Even the titanium, which is it shows it as a transparent color. On the box, they're shown as opaque colors. There's great confusion, and I had this problem the last time when I was looking at the watercolors and the gouache. I even had to contact Eugene and ask him again about which is what, because their packaging does not match their tubes. So I have to go by what the tubes say, because I would assume that if they're meeting ASTM standards, that these are going to be the more accurate of the, I'm sorry for the wiggling here, that these would be the more accurate of the transparency or opacity than this box would be. So I'm going to go ahead anyway, and I'm going to choose similar colors to these and to what I would need for my painting, and then we'll get started. Okay, a day has passed, and I had started to do some painting with this gouache yesterday and wasn't happy with the way it turned out. So now it is dried, just like my other stuff has dried, and I'm going to try reconstituting them both, and we're going to see which one reconstitutes quicker. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water on some of these and see what happens. And then put some on these. I'm giving this just a little bit more because these are big wells and they have a lot of paint in them. So I'm trying to keep the proportions about the same. And I don't have a lot of paint here that that I can use, you know, today in my painting. And I'm going to start with my black here, which is one that takes a little bit longer for me to reconstitute. And it did fine. Let me try this one. Looks like that one did fine too. Okay, how about a brown? My browns usually go pretty quick. I think that is burnt sienna and that's burnt sienna, so I'm going to try both here. And we'll try this one. I didn't rub that as much. There, let's give them equal time. Okay, it looks like they're reconstituting fairly evenly. I'm just about out of white here, so I don't think there's anything even in this. I'm gonna try it, but oh yeah, there's white there. Okay, let me try this one. White usually takes one of the longest times, and that reconstituted as well. So, there's not much blue on here. That's probably not even fair to assess. But, okay. So it looks like they reconstitute fairly evenly. Yesterday, they dried so quick, and I wasn't thinking that they were reconstituting very well. But now, after looking at this, it had been what, maybe 3 minutes? I don't know. So we'll give it that. Now I'm going to go ahead, get the paints that I need. I'm just going to do a real quick painting here. Like I said, I had started one yesterday and it turned out like crap. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this again today. I'll do one on one and one on the other, and it's going to be the same painting. And I'm going to do it in hyperlapse only because this isn't about the painting, it's about the paint. So hang on. Now, to be fair, some of these paints I had to put new paint out on the palette because I didn't have enough. And these greens I'm using are wet from the tube. And I'm finding just a bit of streaking with them. I don't know if you can see that there or not. I apologize for the light problem here. Even with my lighting on, I'm underneath a skylight. I have big skylights in my living room, and at this time of day, there's a lot of sun shining. For the next painting, though, I move it so that it's not in the way of that stream of light coming down. Okay, I'm getting ready to start on the other one here now, and I just want to make a point that I did have to add some paint to the palette. I had to add the blues, the yellows, the greens, and the burnt umber to my palette. So as far as that goes, this had an advantage being wet gouache. The only wet one that new paint that I'm adding to this palette is some white because I was out. So that being said, I have wet my paints, and now I'm going to go ahead and start the simple painting on the bottom. And I may be touching up afterwards, but I'll make sure that I touch up with the correct gouache. Well, somehow I seem to have lost the footage or forgot to turn my camera back on when I started working on the bottom painting, but they took about the same amount of time, and the only difference in color are just the changes from one manufacturer to the other. Otherwise, I tried to keep it as close as I possibly could. The paper used here was just bee paper by the Bee Paper Company. It's 100% cotton. Okay, so here's the verdict. The top one is the Arteza Gouache, and the bottom one are my professional gouache. And you can see, at first I thought that this gouache was going to look more chalky. The painting that I did yesterday, I did in my nature journal, and then I went over it with some of the gouache from the Arteza only because it was handy and I had it there. And here's what happened. It got real chalky in the center compared to the outer edges. So I thought that that's what was going to happen today. Now, this is not completely dry. I'm going to go ahead and dry it so that we can get a true sense of what each painting is doing. And we'll go from there. One second. Okay, now it's dry. The top one is the Arteza Gouache, or Arteza, however you say it. The bottom are my professional gouache. It's Holbein, Winsor and Newton, and M. Graham kind of mixed together. That's the three that I use, and I can't even tell you if I used any Holbein today. I believe they were probably all M. Graham and Winsor and Newton. My greens are from Winsor and Newton, except for my sap green, which I used very little of today. The one thing that I will say is that I feel like mixing colors is much easier with the professional. Now, it could just be because I'm used to them, and that's what I normally use. But I will say that what comes out of a tube on the Arteza Gouache is very bright, very colorful, and are not really colors known to nature. So if you're a nature painter, it might be a little more difficult to paint with these colors. I mean, you do have some really nice browns and mauves here that are nice to work with. You do have a couple of greens that are pretty nice to work with. The rest of these are really kind of off. Now this one would probably be like a sap mixed with white, and that's all it is. You can do that yourself very simply. Do you need 60 colors? Absolutely not. But if you want 60 colors, or if you're a craft painter, then these colors might come in very handy. There's a lot of pinks and yellows and bright, pretty colors in these gouache. Now, I'm more of a nature painter, so I prefer more of the colors that I have here, you know. Excuse the messy palette. Anyway, I would say that side by side, they both look very good. In fact, I do kind of like the yellow green in this one. And this one shows more of a white more of a natural highlight that you would see flickering on leaves, I believe, with the sun. But they both look, I think they both look very good. I wanted to try and get a little more yellow-green in here. In fact, if I do that, it might make it look a little bit, might be a little easier for us to look at them side by side. It might brighten it up. Maybe I needed less white. That could be. I'll do that. I just didn't want it to dry dark. It's still not the same color, but it doesn't have to be. I think that all in all, they both came out very well. So if you want to spend less money on gouache, then this would be your route to go. It's not bad. It really is not bad. I just like my professional colors. I'm used to them. I'm used to the way they dry, and that's why I'm heading for those. But I will say, though, that side by side, I don't think you can really tell them apart aside from the colors that are in the painting. They are pretty comparable. Now, the next thing would be to see if these paints fare well over time. Are they as light fast as they say? Well, with gouache, I wouldn't really worry about it. And I could put Derwent's Wax Medium over this and give it a shinier effect, more like an oil painting, and see how that goes. But all in all, you guys, I think Arteza is perfectly fine gouache. Do you need 60 colors? Absolutely not. You might want to go with a set of 24 if you were going to buy from them. But either way, if you want all these colors, you can go for it. If you're, like I said, if you're a landscape painter, I would not buy these colors because you don't need all this stuff mixed in here. You just need the blues, the greens, the browns, yellows, maybe a couple reds, and that's it. And the set of 24 that I showed you previously in a previous Arteza video, I was using the set of 24 gouache. But tell me what you think. Can you really tell a difference in the quality of the gouache between these two paintings? Let me know down below. Now, I do want to tell you that if you do plan on buying these, I do have a discount code posted down below. So you can use that code to buy your Arteza supplies with that code. And I will be showing you very soon the other thing that Arteza is sending me. It will be their brush pens. I'm really curious about those. I've never really worked with brush pens. I do not believe they're refillable, but I will look at all that information and bring that to you when I do that review. In the meantime, though, I do think this gouache is worthwhile if you want to go with some cheap gouache. I would say it's probably student quality, but I find, too, it's a little more watery. It's, what am I trying to say? I feel like I go through more quickly with this. Now, granted, I was using some of it wet, but even when I reconstituted it, I did feel like I was using a little more paint to get the same effect. So, is it going to be worth the cost savings? That's up to you. If you want to stick with well-known quality professional paints, then you're probably not going to want to go with this. But Arteza is making a name for themselves, being an American company. They're coming out with some real cost-effective supplies for artists. So especially if you're a sketcher or a crafter or something like that, then buying something that's a little bit less expensive might be worthwhile for you. So just take all that with a grain of salt and see what you think. And in the meantime, everybody, remember, be courageous, paint with wild abandon, but most of all, be kind to each other. Have a great day. Bye-bye.